Marriage is socially recognized and approved union between individuals who are committed to one another with the expectation of a stable and lasting intimate relationship. But contrary to speculations, some marriages crash down the line and divorce becomes inevitable. In Nigeria, divorce is increasing with certain types of lifestyles and movements that have stated or saturated the society, such as increasing spousal irresponsibility, career women ideology, feminism, amongst others. And in the studio to unravel why promising marriages end up in divorce, I have Gbenga Ogunmodimun. He is a certified life coach and a human design system expert. It's good to have you join us in the studio.
Oh, it's nice having me here.
Yes, yes. So obviously, if you're a life coach, first things first, you know, in Nigeria, if you must talk about any topic, you have to actually be a principal in that area. In other words, if you must talk about marriage, you have to be married.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
happily married.
Great. You have to put that too. So what do you think is the number one thing? Because I know that there's a long list of things or reasons why there's a high rise in divorces in Nigeria. But what do you think is number one reason for marriages crashing?
There is high rise in marriage crashing all over the world, not only in Nigeria.
Of course, we know that.
But because we are living in this environment, we need to narrow it down. The basic one is lack of self-identity. People marry for wrong reasons these days. People don't marry human beings again. They marry things. They marry locations. Where do you stay? What do you drive? What kind of job do you do? How much is your salary? What background do you come from? Do you know what I'm saying?
But are those also not things that you should consider before deciding to settle down? Not date, but settle down with the person.
You cannot ask me where I stay as a man and you use that as a determining factor to marry me. I will know that you are marrying me for my wealth. Okay. Do you understand?
I understand.
You cannot be saying because somebody is staying in a location where the rent is 300,000 naira and you are comparing the person with somebody who stays where the rent is 3 million naira per annum. Do you understand? So that's why I said people don't marry human beings again. They marry things. Lack of self-identity, self-discovery. People don't know who they are. People don't know their purposes. Why am I existing? What is my assignment on planet Earth? Why am I designed? What am I designed for? When you know these things, it will be easier for you to attract or to recognize the person that you ought to marry. Do you understand? So that's basic foundational error that people are getting into these days.
I want to agree with you on one of the points you raised, because I also realize that there are people who think that marriage completes them. But I have also learned over the years that you have to be a complete person to go into a relationship. You have to be whole.
Marriage can never complete anybody. Marriage is to complement. You are a complete man, you are a complete woman. Do you understand? You come together for companionship, for complementary. You complement me where I am weak. I complement you where you are weak. Do you understand? So there's nothing like without me you can. No, it's
and
not.
And that's where you had that point. Let's talk about the red signs and red flags. You know, red flags are, for me, I think they're generic, whether we like it or not. It is generic. A red flag is a red flag. It can't turn to green if it's in America. So what are those signals that people should look out for in relationships that lead up to marriage before you even, you know, say yes before the question is
There is hell, there is road to hell. Do you understand? When you see someone looking for sledgehammer to kill a mosquito, then beware. You want to kill a mosquito, but the person is looking for a sledgehammer. You should be aware of such a person. Number one, I may not be able to give you a car on your birthday, but I should be able to give you a card. So when you are dating someone or you are planning to settle down with someone and he or she cannot do basic thing within the confinement of his capacity or her capacity, then know for sure that when you settle down, that will be a major problem. Because one of the major problems, apart from sexual intercourse, one of the major problems that have a very high degree in profiling divorce these days is financial issue. Finances. irresponsibility, people not paying bills. Do you understand? On the other way around, what kind of bill did you grow up with? What kind of bill do you want the man to pay?
So you're telling me that in a relationship, if he has not been paying, then don't expect him to change when he gets into marriage, or she.
Don't expect. Do you understand? Don't expect him or her to pay, because your foundation matters. So when you see things like that, as small as you go out and you want to buy something of 1,000 naira, and you have 1,000 with you as a man, you have 1,000 with you as a woman. Even if you want to share, there's no problem in sharing, but you go out and you are expecting her to pay every time. For me, is a no-no as a man. Do you understand? When you are broke or when you are down, when things are not working fine, there's nothing wrong in the woman to do what? To support, to lift, to take you up. But when you see a man who just want the woman to just be picking up the bills every time, for me, that's an act of irresponsibility.
We could spend all day on this bills issue because, you know, it's a very touchy issue. But let's talk about abusive relationships. Abusive relationships is also one of the factors that people point to for leaving relationships. And these abuses can be emotional, verbal, and physical. But at what point should one know that it's time to, you know, walk away or open that door and walk out before it gets worse?
For me, abuse is an abuse. It does not matter the type of abuse. Once there is an introduction of abuse in a relationship, to whom brain is given, sense is expected.
Interesting.
Do you understand? Don't wait. Somebody killed her spouse some 2 or 3 years ago. She's been freed. But the person who died is dead, cannot be brought back to life. For me, once abuse is introduced, please, I'm not saying you should divorce, separate, find a way of, you know, just take a stroll until you find a means of maybe counseling, therapy, prayers, if you believe in prayers, elders talking to him or her, because we only hear about men abusing their wives. We hardly hear about wives abusing their husbands. But you know what, let me tell you.
It does happen.
It happens because by virtue of what I do, and as a mentor with the Lagos State Youth Ambassadors under Ministry of Youth and Social Development, work hand in hand with the Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, we see reports on weekly basis. Wives do abuse as well. In fact, women beat men in this Lagos. Do you understand?
Okay,
so once you see that, just find a way of until his brain is reset.
All right.
Or her brain is reset.
Let's quickly talk about irreconcilable differences. So what are some of those things? In fact, the first time I heard it was from Hollywood stars when they say, due to irreconcilable differences, we've decided to sign or file for a divorce. How best can conflict management be dealt with in relationships before it becomes irreconcilable? You
see, before you get to conflict resolution or conflict management or whatever you call it, where do you put anger management? Where do you put emotional intelligence? That is key. Many people don't know their personality traits. Do you get it? A man or a woman who doesn't understand his personality traits or temperament, how do you want to manage the differences? You have to know who you are first. You have to know your personality traits. You have to understand. So emotional intelligence is key. So I advise people that once you hear a professional in that area is giving a coaching session, it does not matter how much it's going to cost you. Go for that, especially couples. They need to understand that. Because if they don't understand emotional intelligence, it will be hard for them to go into emotional resilience. Do you understand? So when you say irreconcilable differences, the question is, what are the irreconcilable differences? Once the foundation is cracked, it will be difficult for the building. You see, once a foundation is cracked, you have two options. You crash that building by yourself and start building again, or you allow the building to be like that, cracking until the whole building crashes on you. Those are the two options you have.
Wow.
Yes. So when you say because of one difference or because of whatever, the truth of the matter is two people, especially if they are adults, they need to sit down. But you see, most of the time when you check these people involved, they don't even have the patience to sit down and tell themselves.
So patience is one virtue that you need in relationship.
They need patience to sit down.
All right, because we do not have time. One last question, and I want you to answer it very quickly. What kind of impact do you think divorce has on the children? Because, you know, children born into a marriage, no mommy and daddy together. And then all of a sudden they're telling them stories of, oh, mommy has to go or daddy has to go. How do children from divorced homes cope, you know, with this? And how does it also impact on society at large? Okay, so many years ago, I wanted to start writing my WAEC like tomorrow. And today, my father told my mom to move out of the house. Gbenga Ogunmodimun speaking before you here. And when my WAEC result came out, I failed. And my father said, you've been passed all along. Why did you fail? I'm going to disown you. And he chased me out of the house for weeks until his friends and cousins came to beg on my behalf. Does that make sense to you? They've not even divorced. They didn't divorce at the end of the day, but they were separated for a while. So you could imagine, and that cost me some 5 years. My mates were already finishing from the university while I now started looking for admission. Do you understand? So that's one of the effects. And you now look at me today. Okay, thank God for where I am. But guess what? I know some people, due to that, they've not recovered till date. About 30. So in one sentence, what should parents or people in divorces do to help their children psychologically?
Even if you want to divorce, make sure that your relationship, because of the children, is intact.
Okay.
Don't block yourself. Don't say, I don't want to see you again for the rest of my... No. Ensure that because of the children, if there are no children, you can say to hell with... I mean, it doesn't matter. But for the sake of the children. For the sake of the children, because the children, you see, the making of the family is the development of the nation. Gbenga
Ogunmodimun, thank you very much. He's a certified life coach, and of course, he is a coach for human design system. Thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you very much.